Mr. Chair, council members, and participants, we are now live.
Good morning. Today is Tuesday, June 14th, 2022, and we are in the Committee of Streets and Services hearing. Again, good morning, everybody. Understand that state law currently requires that the following announcement be made at the beginning of every remote public hearing. City Council committees are currently meeting remotely. We are using Microsoft Teams to make these remote hearings possible. Instructions for how the public may view and offer public testimony at public hearings of the council committees are included in the public hearing notices that are published in the Daily News, Inquirer, Legal Intelligencer, and the Legal Intelligencer prior to hearings. It can also be found on phlcouncil.com. I now note that the hour has come. Mr. Maynard, will you please call roll to take attendance of the members that are in attendance? Please indicate that you are present when your name is called. Also say a few brief words when responding so that your image will be displayed on screen when you speak. Mr. Maynard.
Yes, Mr. Chair. Vice Chair Squilla. Vice Chair Squilla.
Good morning, Mr. Chair. Present.
Good morning, Council Member. Council Member Bass. Council Member O. Council Member Brooks.
Good morning, I'm present.
Good morning, Council Member Brooks. Council Member Johnson. And Council Member Gilmore Richardson.
Good morning, Mr. Chair and colleagues. I am present.
And finally, Chair Thomas.
Good morning. I'm present as well.
A quorum of the members are present, Mr. Chair.
Thank you. Thank you. A quorum of the committee is present and the hearing is now of Streets and Services regarding bills number 210-870, 220-321, and 220-459. Mr. Maynard, will you please read the titles of the bills?
Of course. The bills to be heard before the committee are Bill 210-870, an ordinance amending Chapter 10-400 of the Philadelphia Code, noise and excessive vibration, to establish a prohibition on loud noise emanating from a motor vehicle and to add a section authorizing use of an automated system for determining violations of the prohibition, all under certain terms and conditions. Bill 220-321, an ordinance amending Section 12-701 of the Philadelphia Code, entitled Designation of Bicycle Lanes, to authorize a bicycle lane on Woodland Avenue from the Woodlands driveway to the VA Medical Center driveway, and making associated changes to parking regulations within the same limits, all under certain terms and conditions. And finally, Bill 220-459, an ordinance authorizing the revision of lines and grades on a portion of City Plan number 284 by relocating the northwesterly house line and the curb lines of Hillcrest Avenue from its current intersection with Germantown Avenue to a point northeastwardly therefrom, thereby widening the said portion of Hillcrest Avenue and modifying its intersection with said Germantown Avenue under certain terms and conditions, including the dedication to the city of the bed of the widened portion of Hillcrest Avenue. These are the bills to be heard by the committee today, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Mr. Clerk. Before we begin to hear testimony from the witnesses we have for today, everyone has been invited to the meeting to testify should be aware that the public hearing is being recorded. Because the hearing is public, participants and viewers have no reasonable expectation of privacy. By continuing to be in the meeting, you are consenting to being recorded. Additionally, prior to recognizing members for question or comments they have witnesses, I will note for the record at this time that we will use the chat feature available on Microsoft Teams. Signal that if people want to be recognized. For the record, I cannot see the chat feature, so I will rely on our clerk today to let me know if someone wants to be recognized in the chat feature. In order to comply with the Sunshine Act, the chat feature must only be used for this purpose. Mr. Mayor, please call the first bill and witnesses we have to testify this morning.
The first bill we'll hear on is Bill 210-870, and Corinne O'Connor from PPA is our sole witness.
Good morning. Please state your name for the record, and you may proceed with your testimony.
Councilmember Thomas, can I just make a comment before the bill?
Sure, absolutely. Chair recognizes Councilmember Squilla.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I just want to say that, we've been meeting with the administration and the Parking Authority and others on this legislation. This legislation is a noise excessive vibration legislation that would deal with sounds coming from the street over an ambient level of noise that would be recorded by a device and then pictures be taken to then offer to be reviewed and citations be issued in the mail. This is something that was done in Paris and is currently being done in New York. And it seems to be successful in tamping down some of that loud noises that are coming from vehicles, whether it's boom cars or loud muffler systems or things like that that are over and above the allowable noise in the city of Philadelphia by code. So Corinne O'Connor is a member of the Parking Authority who will be testifying and letting us know that the Parking Authority would be willing to take on this sound meter camera program and hopefully be able to implement it similar to what we have as a red light camera program. So I just wanted to make that comment and looking forward to hearing Ms. O'Connor's testimony.
Thank you.
Thank you, Councilmember Squilla, and thank you for your leadership on this issue. I am a big fan of using technology to enforce the vehicle code stop, so I do appreciate taking the leadership and looking to address this nuisance problem that we have in Philadelphia. Mr. Maynard, can you please call our first witness, and you may state your name for the record to begin with.
Our first and sole witness is Corinne O'Connor from the PPA.
Good morning. My name is Corinne O'Connor. I am the Deputy Executive Director of the Philadelphia Parking Authority. I'd like to thank the members of this committee for allowing me to testify today. I'm testifying in favor of Bill number 210870, which would amend Chapter 10-400. This amendment would add section authorizing the use of an automated system for determining violations of noise or excessive vibrations emanating from a motor vehicle. The authority is in support of this amendment and looks forward to working with council and our city partners in implementing a program that addresses this quality of life issue. I ask that the committee give bill number 210870 a favorable recommendation. Thank you for giving me the opportunity to testify. And if anybody has any questions, I'll be happy to answer.
Thank you for your testimony. Before we go into questions, I would like to note for the record that Councilmember Back joined us this morning. Are there any questions from members of this committee for this particular witness on this legislation?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I have a question.
Yep, Chair recognizes Council.
Thank you. Ms. O'Connor, do you know how many red light cameras that we have in the city boundaries?
138.
138 cameras. Have they been, would you, in your, I guess, mind, been successful in helping to slow down, or do we still see that these cameras are still seeing the same amount of citations as they have in the past?
No, once a red light camera is installed at an intersection, you usually see about a 50 to a 90% decrease of that type of behavior.
All right, so because of the enforcement there, and in that enforcement, obviously, those cars are not pursued. They're just eventually giving a ticket and then sent to them in the mail, and then they would then proceed with payment at that point. Is it possible for people who, I know with the red light cameras, is there any program if people do not pay those violations? Is there any other recourse?
Well, within the law, the state law, you can, with a red light camera, you could say transfer liability, which happens a lot with the rental vehicles, say like Hertz. They say that they're not liable. It's the driver who was renting that car, and they would send over a rental agreement. There's also within that law that you could state, thank you, I was not the driver, and prove that someone else was driving the vehicle at the time that infraction occurred. But and also red light cameras and speed camera violations can get within the payment plan. So if a citizen goes down to the Bureau of Administrative Adjudication after the violation's 30 days old, they can put their parking tickets and red light or speed tickets within the payment plan. And
All
the
right.
and normal course, you can have a hearing if you can prove otherwise. There was a reason why, you went through the red light. Maybe an ambulance was behind you or a funeral, stuff like that.
Yeah, I could see how that worked, but it's really hard to fight a red light camera ticket when you see the pictures, so it's difficult. But is there any way, is there another process if the person has, say, 3 or 4 red light camera tickets and decides not to pay them at all? Is there any other consequences to that person?
You would become boot eligible.
Oh,
So
you
yeah.
do become boot eligible. So even so, in these sound meter camera tickets, it would work similarly. If you have 3 or more tickets that are unpaid, you become boot eligible.
Yes, and that could be a combination. So you can have one parking ticket, one red light ticket, and one speed ticket, and you become boot eligible. So it's not just 3 of the red light or 3 to speed. It's a combination of what's on your plate and even your name, registered owner. So you can own 2 cars, both in your name, have one red light ticket on one car and 2 speed tickets on another car, and both cars become boot eligible.
Okay. All right. Thank you very much for that. I appreciate your help and willingness to work through this process, and I look forward to continuing working with you, the police department, and the mayor's office and administration to pilot these and have these implemented in areas determined to be most of need by either the district council members or the police department. So thank you so much.
All right, thank you.
Thank you for your testimony. And again, Council.
Welcome.
Chair Thomas, your audio is breaking up pretty badly.
Thank you for your leadership on this issue. Are there any other questions from members of this committee for this particular wit? Hearing none, I want to say, I'm sorry, can you hear me now? Hello?
You might want to take your video off and see if we could hear you better. I'm not sure.
Can you hear me now?
There you go.
Okay. So, I'm sorry, I'll be without video. Are there any other questions from members of this panel for this particular witness? Hearing none, I want to say thank you for your testimony. Mr. Maynard, will you please read the next set of bills and call on the next witnesses?
The next bill we'll hear on is Bill 220321. Adam Smith from from Otis is the sole witness. We'll also hear public comment from Nicole Brunette.
Please state your name for the record, or you may begin with your testimony.
Cool. Adam Smith. All right. So good morning, everyone. Good morning, Chairperson Thomas and members of the Streets and Services Committee. Thank you for the opportunity to appear before you today. As I said, my name is Adam Smith, and I'm the Vision Zero Engineer and Data Analyst in the Office of Complete Streets as part of the Office of Transportation, Infrastructure, and Sustainability. I'm here today to offer testimony on Bill number 220321, introduced by Councilmember Gauthier. This bill will authorize the removal of 1 block of parking in the south side of Woodland Avenue from the Woodlands Cemetery driveway to the VA Medical Center driveway. This will make room for separated bicycle lanes on both the north and the south curbs. This also allowed the upgrade of the existing bike lane on Woodland Avenue from Chester Avenue to that VA Medical Center driveway. Constructing this bikeway link is consistent with the Philadelphia 2035 Comprehensive Plan, Connect, the Philadelphia Strategic Transportation Plan, and with the city's pedestrian and bicycle plan. This bikeway would provide a safe, sustainable, healthy transportation option for people of all ages and abilities. We have demonstrated support for the project from the local RCO, Spruce Hill Community Association, from SEPTA, the VA Medical Center, and from the Woodlands and University City District. The Office of Transportation, Infrastructure, and Sustainability coordinated this bill with the Department of Streets and with the Councilmember Gauthier's office. I thank you for the opportunity to appear before you today and happy to answer any questions you may have.
Thank you for your testimony. Are there any questions from members of this committee for this particular witness? Assuming there are none in the chat feature, I want to say thank you for your testimony. Mr. Maynard, will you please call the next witness to testify on this bill?
Yes, we'll hear public comment from Nicole Brunette.
Nicole, are you connected yet?
Council support, do we have Nicole?
Please give 1 moment to connect.
Of course.
Hi, this is Nicole. If you'd like to leave your name and number, I'll get back to you as soon as I can. Thank you.
Mr. Chair, we do not have Nicole.
Mr. Maynard, will you please call the next bill and the next witness to testify? And if we can get Nicole before the hearing is over, we will surely allow Nicole to testify. Mr. Maynard.
The next bill we'll hear on is Bill 220459. We have no El Marconi from Streets and Sarah Chu from Planning. This is the final bill to hear by the committee today.
Please state your name for the record, and you may begin with your testimony. Good morning.
Good morning, Chairperson Thomas and members of the Streets and Services Committee. My name is Noelle Marconi, and I'm the Director of Legislative Affairs for the Department of Streets. I'm here today to offer testimony on Bill number 220459, introduced by Councilmember Bass. This is not an administration ordinance, but an ordinance requested by Mr. Jared Dinan, PTOE of Atlantic Traffic and Design Engineering. The purpose of this proposed ordinance is to authorize the relocation of a portion of the house line and roadway of Hillcrest Avenue from Germantown Avenue to a point approximately 216 feet northwesterly therefrom, so that it intersects Germantown Avenue perpendicularly rather than in its current angled intersection. This will improve traffic and pedestrian safety at this intersection and will align Hillcrest Avenue with a new driveway entrance to the Chestnut Hill College Sugarloaf campus proposed to be constructed on the southwest side of Germantown Avenue opposite the relocated Hillcrest Avenue roadway. Department of Streets has no objections to this proposed ordinance and recommends it to your committee for favorable action. Thank you for the opportunity to appear before you today. Be pleased to answer any questions you may have.
Thank you for your testimony. Our next witness, please state your name for the record, and you may begin with your testimony.
Good morning, Chair Member Thomas and members of Committee on Streets and Services. I'm Sarah Chu, City Planner with the Philadelphia City Planning Commission. I'm here to testify on Bill number 220459, which was introduced by Councilmember Bass on May 19, 2022. Bill number 220459 will make roadway realignment at the intersection of Germantown and Hillcrest. This action will help reduce excessive speeding through this intersection, particularly the northbound right turn from Germantown Avenue onto Hillcrest. The revised curb line will encourage the motorists to approach the right turn at a reduced speed. The realigned intersection will also reduce the distance for pedestrian crossing. Chestnut Hill College is located in the area, and as the college enrollment increases, more pedestrians can be expected to use this intersection. The Planning Commission at its meeting on June 9, 2022, had recommended Bill number 220459 for approval. I'll be happy to answer any questions you have at this time. Thank you.
Thank you for your testimony. Chair recognizes Councilmember Bass.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I just wanted to thank everyone who has worked on this project. This was a project that when we started, the sides couldn't have been further apart. And I'm very, very pleased to acknowledge and report that the community and Chestnut Hill College have worked hand in hand together to find a resolution that everyone was happy with. So I just wanted to report that out. And this is going to make this particular area much safer and result in, a natural flow of traffic calming in the community. So we're very excited about this project, and kudos to everyone who worked on it. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Thank you, Councilmember Bass, and of course, thank you for your leadership on this issue. Are there any other questions from members of this committee for this particular panel? Hearing none, I want to say thank you to everybody for your testimony as it relates to this particular legislation. Council support, have we been able to connect with that witness?
We tried several times, Mr. Chair, but we're not connecting. We're not able to connect with her this morning.
Okay, thank you for your support.
You're welcome.
Are there any other questions from members or comments from members of the committee? Okay, there being no further questions from members of the committee or no further witnesses to testify, I ask that if anyone else present in this hearing whose name we have failed to call and that wishes to offer testimony of any of the bills being considered today to speak up now. Hearing none, I want to thank all the panels of witnesses for their participation today. We value your opinions. I now invite all panels of witnesses to please disconnect from the meeting before we go into our public meeting. We will now pause the proceedings briefly as multiple participants leave the hearing. While they're leaving the hearing, this also concludes the public hearing of the committee. We will now go into a public meeting to consider the action to be taken on the bills before us today. Mr. Maynard, will you please call the roll to take attendance of the members that are, I'm sorry, Mr. Maynard, will you please call the roll to take attendance? Members that are in attendance will please indicate that you are present when your name is called. Also, please say a few brief words when responding so that your image will be displayed on screen. Mr. Maynard.
Vice Chair Squilla.
Good morning, Mr. Chair. Present.
Thank you, Vice Chair. Councilmember Bass.
Good morning. I'm still present. Thank you.
Very good. Councilmember O. Councilmember Brooks.
Present.
Thank you, Councilmember Brooks. Councilmember Johnson. And Councilmember Gilmore Richardson.
Good morning, Mr. Chair and colleagues. I am present.
Thank you, Councilmember. And finally, Chair Thomas.
Present. A quorum of the committee is present. The chair recognizes Councilmember Swiller for a single motion to approve the amendments to the bills that are being considered today.
We have no amendments today.
Awesome. Even better. The chair recognizes Councilmember Swiller for a single motion on the bills that are being considered today.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I move the bills number 210870, 220321, and 220459 be approved, be reported from this committee with a favorable recommendation, and further move that the rules of council be suspended to permit the first reading of these bills at the next session of council.
Second.
It's been moved and properly second that the bills just read by Councilmember Squilla, including any amendments that have been approved today, be reported from this committee with a favorable recommendation, and further move that the rules of council be suspended to permit the first reading of the bills at the next council. All those in favor in the single motion indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Those opposed? The ayes have it and the motion carries. This concludes the business before the Committee of Streets today. I want to say thank you to all of my colleagues for your great work today. I know that this hearing was much faster than our last one, but I think after our last streets hearing. So thank you, everybody, for all your great work. I'm proud of the bills that we were able to vote out today, and I appreciate your support on this matter.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Chair. Have a good day.
Have a great day, everyone.
Have a great day.